Entrepreneurs on born, they're brewed. You are now listening to the Entrepreneur Podcast with your host, Adam McChesney. Let's grow!
All right, everybody, welcome to the Entrebrewer Podcast. I am your host, Adam McChesney, and I want to thank you for being here. We are live from Half Coast Studios here in St. Louis, Missouri. Thank you to Half Coast for this amazing setup and sponsoring the show. If you are looking to start or take your current podcast to the next level, then you need to check these guys out here in St. Louis. Contact them today for a free consultation to kind of guide you down the right path. As again, if you are listening, please be sure to subscribe to the show and leave us a 5-star review on Apple and Spotify. We would love for you to share this on social media by tagging me. In this way, we can get this incredible content out to more people. I'm excited about today's episode. It is our first guest interview, and this is what it's all about. Bringing high-level entrepreneurs that are in my network to the Entrepreneur Podcast and having them be able to share their story and experiences with you all. Today's guest is Tom Cougan with Renewal Solutions. Welcome to the show, Tom.
Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this episode. So Tom and I got connected probably a couple months ago just through social media, and then we are in Mike Claudio's The Champion Circle. And we had the opportunity last month to actually grab some dinner together after the event, and just hearing Tom's story was really, really inspired by it. And I'm really excited for him to share that with you all today. So Tom, I really appreciate you for taking the time and want to kind of dive in first and foremost, kind of reiterate to the guests the outline of the show. So we're comparing the entrepreneurial journey of all of our guests to that of a brewing process. So we have an outline where we'll kind of dive into a couple different things going through Tom's journey, but starting off first with the history. So Tom, if you want to let us know who you are, where you come from, and what you do, that would be great.
Yeah, of course. So my name's Tom Cougan, owner of Renewal Solutions. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, and great childhood growing up. Never really was into school too much. I was always a kid that liked to play outside, and schoolwork was last. Never really read. Cheated on all the Sims tests back in the day, but I got through. I passed. It's a little bit of summer school, but made it by. So what I do is I do home improvement work, general construction. We do a whole bunch of stuff. But first and foremost, I am a husband to my beautiful wife, Paulette. I'm a father to 4 amazing children, Thomas, Aaliyah, Lucas, and Abriel. They are all in car seats right now. So it's a little hectic going to the grocery store and maneuvering them around. They're 5, 3, 2, and my daughter was just born 4 weeks ago. So, my house is pretty chaotic right now, but, I love it. And what I do again is we do kitchens, bathrooms, basements, and we're endeavoring into real estate right now. So it's an exciting time. And also currently still, I am a New York City firefighter. So we're going to see what happens with that. I'll touch base on that in a little bit, but that's pretty much a little background about me.
Yeah, that's awesome. And yeah, you have an incredible story, just from where things were at, everything with the pandemic, all of that stuff going down. So kind of dive into that, because I think that everybody, obviously has their journey and what that starts. So kind of just give us a quick moment on that, and then we'll dive into the next thing.
So, the pandemic, it was crazy because when I started in construction, I really didn't have much of a company before the pandemic. Once the pandemic hit, I started gaining traction and started getting some bigger jobs, and work kind of exploded a little bit. But it was the scarcity mindset crept in because I didn't know if I should hire any more people. How long is the work going to, continue to grow? But I kind of just removed all that way of thinking. And I just got, I pretty much manned up, and the work just came in. The consistency really allowed us to grow a lot.
Yeah, when you put the work in, people always say, good things happen and success happens, or you become lucky when you do a bunch of work. And that's, that's obviously apparent with what happened in terms of your business growth and personal growth and things like that. Talking about, some of the ingredients to your success, what are 3 things that have made you successful, whether that be in your personal development or throughout the course of your business so far?
So the first thing that, really, really pushed me forward into success is my wife. She was my backbone into pushing me, into allowing me to step out and be uncomfortable and to take a risk, pretty much. I started off with a power washing company. That's how I got going. I went to Home Depot, I bought a power washer, and I went door to door. And I was just going door to door to door. She goes, "No, you could do it." I was working for a power washing guy at the time, making $150 a day. And she goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "What do you mean?" She goes, "Why don't you go and do it yourself?" So I was like, "All right." And it turned out I was making like $800 a day, just going door to door and just power washing people's houses. So she's definitely a driving force to my success. The second is my faith. I give everything I have, and I keep God first in everything that I do. Without him, I wouldn't be sitting in front of you right now on the Zoom call and on this podcast. And, I give him all the glory for everything. And the third thing is my ability. I feel as though, I know I have a unique ability to solve problems very, very quickly and to pivot and to just get things done. So people ask you, "What do you do for a living?" And sometimes I answer them, I say, "I solve problems very, very quickly." And reading is huge too. With all those books you have in front of you, I read about half of them, and that helps out a lot.
No, that's awesome. I think, especially as people become more successful in business, they tend to forget about what truly got them there. And I love that you started, those things out, your key ingredients in terms of being successful with your wife, with your faith, and then talking about something that I think most people don't understand is they think that they can create a business, but that they're not going to have to continuously solve problems. And that, for me, I was kind of the same way. But the best business owners, the best businesses are the best problem solvers. They take problems and they don't focus on the problem, they focus on the solution. And that's incredible that you obviously have identified that, and it's been a key piece to your success. Talking about, the brewing process. So obviously great beer doesn't happen overnight. Great business doesn't happen overnight. And I really want to kind of dive into your journey, the ups and the downs. I know it's been, crazy on both sides of the thing, the thing with the business and everything like that, also being the firefighter, everything like that. So kind of give people an idea of what your journey has been and, some ups and downs throughout it.
Yeah, definitely. So I started off, me and my wife met, and that really, at the time when we met, I was going through a real hard struggle with opioid addiction. And, I was just getting by, scraping by, just pretty much using enough not to be sick. And she had no idea. So as the addiction got worse and worse, it kind of exposed itself. Through that, I was able to get onto the New York City Fire Department and go through the brutal academy. And there was days I was going through withdrawals. There was days I didn't know if I was going to be able to get through the day. And if anybody knows what withdrawals do to you, it's not fun. I felt like every day I was in prison, like a mental and physical prison. And it sucked, man. It really, really was hard. I ended up getting onto the fire department. I got sent to a firehouse, and they found out that I was using still. They sent me away to rehab. I went to 3 rehabs. My wife stayed with me. And after the third one, I came back and I messed up again, and she left. She took my kids. And at the time I had Thomas and Aaliyah, and she left. And I didn't know what to do. I knew that I needed to, get sober. So I really honed in on my faith in God. The people from my church surrounded me, and I got the help that I needed. I ended up getting a sponsor in the program of AA. And when I got out of rehab the last time, I had no place to live. He took me in, showed me a new way to live. His name is Doug Ryan, and I love this man to death. And I'm still at the firehouse. Things are going better. Within 7 months, God blessed me with getting my wife and my children back in my life. She did file for divorce and custody of the kids, which she dropped. She seen I was doing better. And we're like, all right, it's time we get back together. So I ended up getting renting a townhouse right across the street from where Doug lived. So he kept a really good eye on me. And the fire department's going good. Everything's going great. And the overtime ended. There was no more overtime. I could barely pay my rent. So that's when I started working for the power washing company, making a couple bucks on the side. And then that's when my wife pushed me. She was like, what are you doing? You gotta do it yourself. So I ended up just going all in on myself. I was making very good money doing power washing, but I was like, there's a ceiling here. And, I don't know if this is it for me. So once power washing season ended, that's it. It was the winter time. What am I going to do? There was a guy that I was like, I think I have a card in my pocket. I picked it up and I power washed this guy's house. And I called him because he does real estate and he does investing. So I called him up and I said, hey, man, it's Tom Cougan. You told me if you need any work done, give you a call. So I call him up and he goes, yeah, you want to check out a job? I said, of course. So I go to check it out. It's a 2-floor, single-room occupancy building with 20 units in it. I'm like, oh, man, I don't know if I can handle this. But I was like, you know what? Problem solved. I'm going to figure this out. So I grabbed a whole bunch of guys. I got them together. I put a bid on it. And I ended up winning my first big job for $250,000. And that job allowed me to build my team. It was a 6-month job, big job. And I built that team. And this was about 3 years ago, right? Built the team up. And ever since that day, I haven't stopped working. We just continuously kept pushing forward. I opened up Renewal Solutions, and it's been a tremendous, tremendous blessing. God has blessed it extremely. And there was struggles between the way, There was a lot of things I didn't know that I just didn't know. I was able to get work done. I was able to collect payments. I was able to do all that stuff. But tracking numbers was non-existent. I was just operating in a realm that was very fast-paced, and I wasn't tracking anything, money in, money out. I thought I was doing okay. And I found out I really wasn't when I met Mike. He really was like, dude, what are you doing? So that slowed me down. I took a few steps back. I was able to regroup. And at this time, I'm still within the fire department. I'm still doing both. And I'm seeing that, one is taking me away from the other. Mm-hmm. And I'm battling what I should really do, how I should, what moves I should make. The fire department has the pension, the, benefits, everything, the $140,000 a year salary. Or I have Renewal Solutions that I did $500,000 the first year. And then after I met Mike, we did 1.7. And now this year we're on track for over 3. I'm shooting for, which we will get there. The numbers are being, I'm figuring them out right now. Currently, we're doing extremely a lot better. I got a bookkeeper, which is huge. If anybody's listening to this, get yourself a bookkeeper. Do not try to do it yourself, because it costs pennies on the dollar, and your time could go to, a lot of other places to be benefited. But throughout the journey, man, I learned a lot. I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about business. I learned a lot about addiction and how to overcome it. I'm 3.5 years sober. right now from alcohol and opioid addiction. And one of the main things that I do today that, allows me to keep going and to keep what I have is me giving it away to others that are struggling, because there's so many people out there that are struggling through, various types of addictions that they just don't know how to operate in life. And what really helped me was not taking things personal, because I don't know how you're feeling today and what you're going through, so when something's said to me, I'm like, all right, how's that working out for you? And the answer that I get, you'd be so shocked at some of these answers that people give you. But it opens up the door, it opens up the conversation. But the journey is a lot of fun. I being an entrepreneur, wearing 35 hats a day, it's challenging. It's extremely challenging. And I love it, though. I love the rush. I love the thrill that it gives. I love all that. So that's pretty much where I'm at right now with the journey. There's probably a lot more. That's awesome. I'll let you talk for a little bit.
No, you're good. I mean, it's going to be tough to, top this first episode. This is an awesome story. I mean, I honestly got chills just listening to it from, the start to the finish. I mean, that's an incredible journey. Obviously the journey isn't over, but what you were able to overcome, not just with the circumstances of also trying to do another business or another job, but the overcoming all of the personal, things that were going on. That right there is, obviously a journey that most people don't go on. And some of the people that do go on obviously don't get to the point where you were able to get to. So kudos to you for doing that. It's inspiring. I obviously didn't know that part of your story. That's not something that we had talked about. So I really appreciate you obviously sharing that. But, again, kudos to you for being able to, see that and obviously overcome it and get to where you're at today. And I think the progress from just the power washing stuff to where Renewal got, that is a phenomenal transition and story to be able to kind of see the bigger picture of, you mentioned hitting a ceiling. And I think that's where most people, tend to try to figure out what that ceiling is. But, ultimately, the next part of where I want to take this is the part of the process where you look to see what the final result of the journey is up till this point and figure out what needs to be changed in order to get to that next level. So you talked about doing 500K to 1.7 to going over 3 this year. What is the biggest lesson that you have learned so far that you would share with someone that's an entrepreneur looking to save years worth of mistakes?
So that's a really good question. That's a really, really good question. There's a few of them, but one thing is definitely to get your routine in order, your daily routine, right? Just consistency on everything that you do, whatever that may be that works for you. You have to get into a routine and stay consistent. And that has helped me so much. I have my daily routine. I call it my crushing the day. Tom Cougan's crushing the day. And when I get these things done, it just really, really sets me up for the day. By 7:30 in the morning, I've done more than most people are going to do throughout the whole day because I wake up at 4 a.m. I'm not saying everybody's going to wake up at 4 a.m., but it helps me, And just to add one more to that is if you're a business owner, right, and you feel as though that you are stuck and you're not growing or there's something happening in your business, hire a coach. Hire a coach. Don't wait. Don't procrastinate. These coaches out there, when you find the right coach for you, they are going to save you, like you just said, years and years of heartache and struggle because they've gone through it all. When you get the right coach, you're going to save so much time, so much money. I mean, the investment into yourself and into your business is going to be a tenfold return. And it has for me. I know it has for you. And not only are you going to make tenfold return, but the relationships that you're going to get to build with other entrepreneurs, other like-minded people is extremely, extremely valuable to me.
No, I couldn't agree more. And I love the aspect of both the routine, and then I think the routine and investing in yourself, whether it be a coach or a network of people, a lot of those things go hand in hand. And I think, everyone is always looking for the next best thing in their routine. If you could you walk us through what that morning routine looks like? Cause that's such a key part to everyone's day, but let's dive into that real quick.
Yeah, of course. So I wake up at 4:15. That's the time I chose. So I get up at 4:15. I read my core values out loud. Okay. The core values for my company, I made an acronym. It's called Renewal. And the R stands for reliable. We're reliable in everything that we do, our appearance, how we show up on a daily basis at work and at home with our families. E is expertise. Okay. I want myself, everybody in my team to stay in the area of gifting at all times. I'm not going to have the painter start doing tile work. It's not going to be, financially, there's no financial gain there, and you're not going to feel accomplished. N is next man up. If you miss something, if somebody, forgets to do something, the next guy is going to take care of it, and then we get together and we figure out why that has happened. The other E is excellence. I want everybody to operate in a spirit of excellence. I believe excellence is a little different than expertise because it has a lot more to do with heart and just, being in that spirit of excellence in all that you do throughout your life. W is win 3. So in my business and for our employees and everybody involved, I want the company to win, the employees to win, and the customers to win at all times. So I've created a system and I've created a culture that allows that. A is always keep God first, right? Most of the men that work for me are Christian, they're faith believers, and those who aren't, it's okay. But I want them to just try to believe in something that's greater than themselves. It really helps out a lot. And L is lifelong learner. I want everybody in the group to, not be at one level. I want them to continuously grow, learn, and just excel in the company and in life in general with their families and everybody else. So I read that out loud, and then I go into my gratitude. I just, talk about how I'm grateful for my family, I'm grateful for my company, and all the things. I have a list of things that I go down, And then after that, I do 30 minutes of reading. Right now, I'm currently reading Claudio's book, Too Strong. I'm almost done with it. It's a pretty good book so far. It's a pretty good book. So I'm going through that. And then I read one proverb, and I'm doing that continuously. As it finishes, it restarts. And then I go to the gym. I'm at the gym usually around like 5:30 till about 7. And then I start my day.
That's awesome. That's a really solid routine. And I'm glad you touched on the core values, because I know obviously like last month when we were in at Mike's event, we were really digging into those things. And I just started with the core values then, and I introduced them to my team, and I'm truly living them out, and I can already see the differences. But I've seen and heard a lot of people talk about core values and then them explain them. But the excitement you got talking about your core values and what was behind them was phenomenal. And there were also like very unique things, not necessarily your typical, like the win 3, I think is phenomenal. Lifelong learner. All of those things are awesome. So incredible job, obviously not only just creating those core values, but obviously really living them through. I think that's awesome.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
So the last part of the process that we'll talk about here today is the distribution. So in terms of brewing, it's obviously taking the beer to market and selling it. What we're talking about in the entrepreneur journey is what's next. Obviously, you've came a very long way. I know you have big goals, targets, and aspirations, but what's next for you?
So I was faced with the decision on February 11th that if I didn't get the vaccine because they made a mandate in New York City for all city workers to get vaccinated. If not, you get terminated. So I have not been vaccinated, but I still have a religious exemption in. If that gets denied, then I go up to termination. So I was struggling with that a lot, that decision. And I came to the decision that I'm going all in on myself. I got to remove the scarcity mindset, right? This is a job. It's a very good job, right? It's 2 days a week you're working. You do a 24, you're off for 4 days, you do another 24. So my mind was kind of, it was like, oh, you get the pension, you get the benefits, you got 4 kids. And I'm like, you know what? I'm removing that because there's absolutely no room for self-doubt. So that's it. I'm going all in on myself this year and on my company. And what's next for Renewal Solutions and myself is I'm going to start the process of building renewal enterprises. So renewal enterprises, this is not a 5-year plan. This might be a 20-year plan, but I know right now I'm in it for the long run, right? So we're going to open up subdivisions of roofing, plumbing division, electrical division. We're going to have our own building division and real estate investing. So I'm going to just cultivate all that. And every decision I make today is got to get me closer to that, tomorrow. So that's what's next. And also I'm going to be putting together a non-for-profit, hopefully by next month. And I'm not sure the name yet. I'm still trying to figure out a few things and how to help out and do some outreach on people struggling through addiction and, what I could do to give back on that end,
Man, that is phenomenal. The sky is definitely the limit for you, and you are certainly putting plans in place in order to make that happen. So I have no doubt that you are going to build this empire. And I'm super excited for you, man. Well, Tom, I really appreciate you, hopping on today. Any last things, words of advice, and then also let people know, where they can find you, whether that be on social media, website, all that good stuff.
Yeah. No, man, I just want to thank you for having me on. I know it was last minute. I'm glad I was able to be on here for you, and you got a lot of big things coming on this podcast, man.
I certainly appreciate that.
Yes. You guys can find me at renewal_solutions on Instagram, and on Facebook, it's Tom Cougan or just Renewal Solutions on Facebook.
Awesome. Well, we'll definitely put that in the show notes. As for everyone listening, I want to thank you again for tuning into the podcast today. Please be sure to subscribe, download, and share our content. Leaving a 5-star review definitely goes a long way. And I want to thank you again to Half Coast Studios. If you're in St. Louis and looking to start your own podcast, then you seriously need to come check out what we have going on here. It is a phenomenal setup. For all of you guys tuning in, see you next week. And remember that entrepreneurs are not born, they are brewed.
I'm an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs aren't born, they're brewed. Thank you for listening to Entrepreneur Podcast with your host, Adam McChesney.